One of the biggest questions I get asked, how does the plane go from Memphis to LA? Does it just fly west until it sees the ocean? No, that ain't the way it's done. I'm gonna explain it to you in simple terms. Now, if you wanna get technical, we can make this a 10-hour deal. I was gonna get Elon Musk to come over here and explain it because he's better at this than me, but he was unavailable, so you got me. Now, how does the plane get from Memphis to LA? Now, in the old days, they had a bubble on top of the plane and they looked at the stars, which is, I don't know how accurate that is. Then they came up with the VOR system. And the VOR system, let's say this is Memphis, and let's say this is LA. That's not showing up. Let me try black. This is Memphis, and this is LA. Does that show up better? Okay. Now, if you're flying the O system of VOR, there's a VOR in Little Rock. Oh, there's one in Oklahoma. There's one in Denver. And then you got a VOR in LA. So what you would do in the old days is you would take off, you would have a flight plan. Your flight plan would be Memphis to Little Rock to Oklahoma, Oklahoma to Denver, Denver to LA. Now, that's not a perfect straight line, but that used to be the way it was done. Now, if you've got a really strong VOR and you got a really strong airplane, you can the higher you go, the better you can receive. You could sidestep this one, go here, and go here, and that would cut down on your fuel and time. That's just going to VOR to VOR. Now, the way the VOR works, here's the station. It puts out radials in 360 degrees. So you're just picking up that radial and you're flying to the station. It's going to say to in your airplane. When you pass over, it's going to say from. So that's the old way of doing it. Now, a lot of planes still use VOR because they haven't been updated. The new way to do it is by GPS. So GPS is more accurate and you can go in a straight line. That saves fuel, time, it's less work for the controllers, and it's just a better system. Now, the way that works, let's say here's your airplane. In the sky, there's over 6,000 satellites circling the Earth. Most of them are American. Canada's got some, China's got a bunch, Japan's got a bunch, Russia's got a bunch. They're just circling the Earth. These satellites here belong to the DoD, the Department of Defense. They're 11,000 miles above the Earth. And they're circling the Earth. Every 12 hours they circle the Earth. So there's 24 of them circle the Earth. And that's the GPS system. And what they do, they send a signal to the airplane. And all it's doing is timing. Now the airplane, this Cessna 172 is going 125 miles an hour. So it's going, it's just timing it. And then it sends them back. I know that sounds crazy. I don't know how it works, but that's the way it works. The GPS signals are sending it to the airplane. Now, if you have GPS, you're going to have rain in your aircraft. And suppose 4 of these signals were out. You were flying low and the mountains were blocking it. You would get LOI on your GPS, loss of integrity. You have to have 6 GPSs to have good rain. Now, I know that sounds a little crazy. I know that's the way it works. So if you're flying GPS from here to here, on your GPS receiver, you can go to a page and it says rain available, and it shows all the satellites. Now you got to have at least 6 satellites. You got 4, you're getting a little funny, but you really need 6. So that's the way GPS works. Now, I think it was 2015, 2016. I don't know exactly, but WAAS came out. And what WAAS does, there is a satellite that's really high. and it's geo-referenced to the Earth. As the Earth moves, it moves with the Earth. This is the WAAS satellite. Now, what it does, there's stations on the ground, and the regular satellites send information to these stations. It goes to another station. The other station corrects the errors and sends it to this station. This station is the uplink that sends it to the WAAS. Then the WAAS sends it to your airplane, and it's like really, really crazy accurate. Now, GPS for the DoD really became available to shoot cruise missiles. That's the purpose for it. They put a 3-foot error in it, so you can't hit somebody with a missile, which I don't know that 3 foot's going to matter with a missile. But anyway, that's just nerdy knowledge. This is not something that you're going to be asked on your private pilot check ride or on your commercial interview. This is just nerdy information that people ask me. How does the plane know how to go where it's going and land? Well, it's the same thing. So, when GPS came out, you got rain. Now, the newest system available that's very accurate, I mean, it is very accurate, is WAAS. And the reason WAAS is so accurate, it takes all of the other information, it gets fixed, it goes to another one, gets fixed, it goes to an uplink and sends it back to your airplane, and it's very, very accurate. Now, why do you have two? Why do you have RAIN and you have WAAS? What if your WAAS receiver goes out? What if your RAIN receiver goes out? Then you got double redundancy. So WAAS is the future. A lot of these VOR stations, like I told you at the beginning, they're kind of getting phased out. They'll never phase them all the way out because of a lot of these older airplanes, they have to use them to do approaches when they're landing. But that's a whole nother video we'll do. So you got VOR, you got GPS. GPS is still, you can buy planes all day long with GPS that don't have WAAS and fly great. WAAS allows you to get lower on an approach and to be more accurate. Now, a little tidbit here. Let's see here. So let's say you're flying to LA and you're flying on your WAAS. Now, how do you not hit the other airplane? Think of this, even, odd, okay? If you're flying any of these directions, you fly even altitudes. If you're going this way, you fly odd altitudes. That keeps everybody apart. Now, when you get certain altitudes, this is picked by the controller, but that keeps everybody apart. So that's the way you get from Memphis to LA using either GPS or WAAS. Now, let's say you got a 2015 airplane that doesn't have WAAS. You can get a WAAS receiver put in there. It's about $50,000. So if you're buying a new airplane today or a used airplane, make sure it has WAAS because your resale value is going to be a whole lot better. You got to think about these things when you buy an airplane. Now, if you don't care and you're going to use your airplane in Memphis to go to Little Rock and go to Nashville, you don't really need WAAS. If you're a businessman and you fly that plane all over the United States and you need to get places and you need to be on time, then you want a plane with WAAS. Is an older plane, when I say older, I didn't mean 1940. I mean 1980, 1985, 1990. Is an older plane okay and still valuable, can still be used with just GPS? Yeah, GPS is great. It works great. You can get used GPS receivers for a little of nothing, and they will serve you well. Now, if you want WAAS, it's the latest, greatest thing out there. To get a WAAS receiver in your airplane, it's $50,000 depending upon what you want. So if you're buying a 182 or a 172 or something like that, ask, does it have WAAS? Get in the plane and you can go on the GPS and you can go on the page and it'll show your integrity of the GPS and it'll show if your WAAS is working. If it's not working, it's going to tell you. So that's the way the plane goes from here to here. It can either go with the WAAS satellite or all the GPS satellites? That's the answer to the question. Now, the same thing when landing. And we're going to get into that in another video. Let's say the clouds are this low. How does the plane know how to come down and land? Same thing. The GPS is going to be pretty accurate. The plane may be in there. Now, the WAAS is going to be very accurate. It's going to be super accurate, and it allows you to get down lower. The GPS approach might just let you get down to 300 foot above the ground, where the WAAS might let you get down to 100 foot, depending upon your airplane and your operating specifications. So that's how the plane gets from Memphis to LA in the clouds. Different altitudes for different directions, and you're getting the GPS information. And the newer airplanes all have the WAAS, and that's very, very accurate. So when you take off, I'm looking for my eraser, it's in my hand. Before you take off, there's waypoints, GPS waypoints. And you're going to program these waypoints into either your GPS or your FMS. And when you take off from Memphis, you're going to climb out through 1,000 foot, autopilot on. Now, when you hit the autopilot on, it's just going to level and fly whatever, just a heading and altitude. Now, when you get ready to go direct, you just hit nav and the airplane follows it. It goes all the way. It's a boring job. The airplane is going to fly all the way. When you get to LA, because of the traffic, they're going to say, fly arrival Chesapeake Mountains number 4. And you put that in here, and it may take you to the runway. And you put that in the GPS, and it's going to take you to the runway. So that's how that works. You're going to program these in here. Now, if you're going to Miami, to upstate New York, it's like 35 waypoints. It takes a few minutes to put all them in there. Now, the newer the airplane, the newer the FMS, the easier it is to put those waypoints in. When the Collins ProLine 21 came out versus the predecessor FMSs, it cut down on 21 pushing of buttons on your basic route. So that's the way to do it. You take off from Memphis, you put the route in there, you take off, you hit autopilot, you hit nav, and it flies you all the way there. Now, if there's a thunderstorm right here, you might say to controller, we need 30 degrees left for weather, okay? Now, you can pick another waypoint here and turn, or you can hit control wheel steering and just go around it and then let go, and the GPS will pick back up. I know we're getting kind of technical, but that's just me being a nerdy teacher, trying to teach you stuff. But we'll go over that later. But anyway, that's how the airplane flies through the cloud. Once you get over here, you pick the approach and you put the approach in there, and the airplane, the little airplane will fly you down to 600, 800 foot. A big airplane will fly you down to 200 foot. Now, if you go into Amsterdam all the time, it's foggy all the time. So a lot of those commercial airplanes have auto land. They will fly you all the way to the runway, land you, and then you got to disconnect it and you can put the brakes on if you can see out the window. So that's how you go from point A to point B in the clouds and come down and land out of the clouds. Does everybody got that? I try to be as simple as I can. We can make it really technical, or that's the simplest I can make it. You have any more questions, send it to me and I'll make a video on it. That's the number one question I get asked, is that right there. That's number one. I hope I explained it good. Thanks.